Hi, and welcome back again at our Reaper tutorial series. This is part 2F, Hello Intensified. We're going to have a look on working with effects on items. We take an example with an equalizer, and I'll show you some other tricks on how to work with effects on an item. So we're going to take it onwards from where Thomas left off. First, I'm going to clean up a little bit of the routing because we're not needing that at the moment. We're not. We're not going to need the reverbs here, so I'll click on the routing button and delete these two connections. So now we should, if we solo this, we should have a clean
Thy soul shall find itself.
signal again. And this is what we're going to work with. Okay, I'm also going to work on the text because text usually needs a lot of work on as it is usually very dynamic. We'll come to that in the next tutorial. And we can also influence it a little bit. Now, this influence we can do with Equalizer, which is a very handy tool for some things. And one of these things we're going to use it on is proximity. So, how far away are we? And if we are moving closer, what actually is happening then? Our ear works in this way that things which are far away, we tend to hear less of the bass and the top frequencies, the high frequencies, which are included in that signal. It's all included, but we don't hear it very well. As closer as people are getting while talking, we can hear the range extending. And actually, our ears are optimized for a certain volume in which this volume has a maximum of perceiving the high frequencies and the low frequencies. So if you listen to something which is very, very soft, you will tend to hear less bass and less high end. There is a sort of optimum which came in over the years of evolution when people started talking to each other. And this is sort of close range optimum of sound level where we have the maximum of this perception of high and lows. So, how can we fake that? Which is basically what we are doing in a movie. We have a good recording, which is closely recorded, and we want something to happen to it when some person is getting a little bit closer. As we have this item here, and we want to achieve this effect, we have the possibility to include an effect on the item itself. If you see here, you can see this little effects button. So if we click on it, we get the same as if we click on this effects button, but it only affects this item. So it doesn't affect all the items which are following. So if we are looking for an equalizer, search for EQ, we can choose the re-EQ and include that here. And let's say that we want to cut off a little bit of the low end. We're going to make a so-called high pass filter, which is happening here. And we're going to be able to cut off some of the high end, which we're going to insert at the high end of the spectrum a so-called low pass filter. Now we can move this around and you can see that actually what is underneath this area will be coming through and what is outside of this area is filtered away. So if we listen to this little item here now where we inserted the EQ,
Thy soul shall find itself
We can hear the effect. Now let me mute this for the time being so we have a little bit of a clear view on what's happening. I'll change the setting here.
Thy soul shall find itself.
This is basically how it works.
What does this line indicate when we're playing?
These grid lines are on a logarithmic scale. That means that on the left side we hear the very low frequencies, and on the right side we hear the very high frequencies. Our ear is sensitive to, roughly speaking, frequencies from 20 hertz, and if you're very young, until 20 kilohertz, which degrades the older that you get. So actually these grid lines are lines which are indicating a doubling of the frequency. So here you have like 50 hertz, and it will be 100, 200, 300, 400 until 1000, and 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, 10,000. It makes it more easy to grasp because it's getting closer all the time.
Maybe you could show this effect one more time to hear.
I can make a loop. A nice trick to make a loop is press Shift on your keyboard and double click. We are already in loop mode, as we can check with pressing R.
Thy soul shall
like
find
this.
itself. Thy soul shall find 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 itself. Thy soul.
This is what's happening when I cut away the low end. Nearly sounds like whispering.
Thy soul shall find itself.
And this is what's happening if I cut away the high end.
Thy soul shall find itself. Thy soul shall find itself. Thy soul shall find itself. Thy soul shall find itself.
Now it sounds like through the wall, huh?
More or less, yeah.
That's
more like mumbling now.
How you do this? So if I'm creating a sound design, I want somebody to talk through the wall. Would you do it like this?
It could be a good start anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I would maybe take this a little bit away as well.
Because it's further away, huh? You cut the bass as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is basically the effect we would like to achieve. Now I'm going to do something we have not done before, because I would like to have a little bit of a longer loop. So I'm going to select these 4 clips here, and I'm going to put them together as one item, which I do with this command, which is glue. And as you can see, all my edits have been put together. This is a destructive thing, so we can of course always go back with Command Z, as you can see, but we can also do it with Command Shift Z, and that is you redo. So if I Shift double click on this item now, I have my loop a little bit longer.
Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone. Not one of all thy soul shall find itself.
And now we are going to make the effect. I'll put this just back here. That we are starting at some point close, and to create the impression that the voice is going further away. As we have seen in tutorial 2b, we can automate that. So if we right click on the item, we get our context menu. we go to take and take envelopes. In 2B, we have seen automation with a take volume envelope, but we can click here because the 3 points means that there is another option available. And you can see that we here have our frequency for the high pass filter and a frequency for the low pass filter available. Now, what does that bring to us? Well, I'll make this a little bit larger so it is easy to see that we have 2 extra lines in our item, which have a starting point here, which is the starting point corresponding to this, and a starting point here, which is the same as this frequency over here. So let's say that we would want to have this voice appearing from further away and having it moved closer towards us. Following our explanation before, that we are less sensitive to low frequencies when they're further away. We should put this a little bit higher. I'll put it somewhere like maybe here. And I make an extra point here with shift click. We insert an envelope point, which we can then just drag down and make it maybe, well, why don't we put it like here at full range. And for our high frequency filter or low pass filter, in better said, we will be doing the same thing. We will be putting it around like 3K, something like that. We add a point here.
What is 3K?
Excuse me, this is 3 kilohertz or 3000 hertz.
Which part of the voice is it around?
That's the part where the intelligibility of our voice is.
So like the sh, 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 sh. My sh is about 2.5.
Okay.
And
Well,
yours?
It's a bit higher.
And the S is even higher. That's
S.
around 4 to 6 kilohertz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have made a nice converging pair of lines on our track. For the ease of listening, I will mute the take afterwards, so we have it as a standalone part.
Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the thy soul.
So this is the sort of effect we would like to achieve. Maybe we can tune it a little bit better even. I think the high pass is a little bit too high. I think we can easily lower that maybe to half the size. And listen to it again.
Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the
What we would do now is have a little bit more reverb at the beginning, where the person is further away, and then have less reverb. You can try that out for yourself. We will not show it right now. Just do the routing again and try it for yourself. But that's basically what we would add here to make it realistic. And of course, we would need to pull down the volume in the beginning and in the end
Exactly.
come to 100%.
I think the effect is demonstrated well in your talk about reverb, where so you can keep that in mind, how that works with the distance and getting closer.
Yeah.
And apply it here as well. It's a very good task. Now, you might ask yourself, why should we do things like this on a per item basis where we could also do it on a track? Well, as you see, we made some automation here, and sometimes this automation is not really necessary. It can be the same. Let's get rid of it for now for a second. And we have one tuning of the vocals, which we're going to be using sometimes.
Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grave.
Like that. And now this inserting it into an item makes it very easy to insert it into a next item as well, where we would need this again. So to do that, we can just go here to effects, click on it, and drag it to another clip. And we would have the same effect. And if you want to make another copy here, for instance, into this item here, it is also very easy to, if there is a different situation, to make some changes here.
Pull it to the taste.
Exactly.
Which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before.
So, to demonstrate the effect. So this is how you would insert an effect on an item. And if you're really happy with this and you're certain that you are going to not change it anymore, it is possible to turn this into a new take. For now, for the sake of the simplicity, we can just render this effect here. And now the effect is completely incorporated in the take.
Why has it gotten stereo? We have two tracks.
It is because the output of this track is recorded on this spot. And as the output of the track is stereo, and some other effects can be already rendered in, as we have seen in our tutorial 2b, like panning, this would be rendered into this take immediately. So it would take away the panning needs, these kinds of things.
And the one that's highlighted is going to be played.
The one that's highlighted, that is the one we are listening to. So I can click on this one, and then we could still
itself alone,
apply the effect.
Dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all.
And it's like a combination of destructive and non-destructive now.
Exactly.
You can always jump back and
you
it's
can
still...
always jump back. You can even try a different setting if you like that better and render it again. Let's do that, because that is a good feature. Like if we put it, our effects a little bit like this. Let's just render it like this. We make it as a new take. So now we have 3 takes, and we can compare.
Thy soul shall find itself alone.
The last thing that I wanted to show you with respect of takes is that we installed a shortcut. If we click on an item, we can lock the item so that not accidentally we do a mouse click on that and everything sounds completely different. So when we have decided at least for the moment on a take, we can lock the item. And if we want to change something again, we can press L again, and it will be open again for changes. Okay. In our next tutorial, we're going to look a little bit on time stretching, which is easily possible with Reaper, and we will look how to work with effects on tracks like an EQ and a limiter. I'll see you then.